Well, hey there, everybody. It's your favorite mad scientist, Gant Laborde. And today I'm going to just quickly build a simple, fun idea to show you just how easy some of these things are. We're going to use some technology that shouldn't be hard. We're just going to register a domain name and then deploy our website to Amplify and have a simple React website. And I think this is a really cool idea. The idea hit when I was having a chat with Michael from the React podcast, and we talked about how difficult it is to know what you look like right before a meeting. As a matter of fact, I have no idea what I look like right now. I know I showered not long ago. I have no idea where my hairs are or what's going on here. So generally what I'll do is I'll open up a Zoom session and just take a look for no other reason than I need to take a look at myself, and then I'll close it back down or join a call. And I can't tell you how many times I've joined a call, put on my headphones, and just had them push push my hair up in some weird way or something like this. And then I'm in the call and I'm like, oh, okay, well, oops, sorry, let me kind of fix this stuff and everything like that. Hopefully before they ever join the call. So Mike and I came up with this idea. What about quickmirror.me? A website that's sole purpose is to be your digital mirror. That's it. You pull up quickmirror.me, there you are, and then you say, okay, that's good enough. And then you can turn it off and close it down and join whatever call you need to do, or you can fix whatever you need to fix. Shouldn't be hard, shouldn't be expensive, shouldn't be anything complicated. And especially with Amazon hosting prices for uh, anything like that, scalability is there and the price is nothing. So, quick chat, Infinite Red's just going to go ahead and buy the domain, and then we're going to check that out together. So, thought to myself, how fast can I make this? Well, I have no idea, but I figured let me just record it, and maybe if I figure out some cool things along the way, that might be valuable to you as well. So, join me in my live coding session of trying to make quickmirror.me. Little caveat here, if you go to the website, it looks nothing like what we made here today. Means I improved it after we were done. I was probably a little embarrassed about whatever I wrote, and then I decided, hey, I'm going to do that a little bit better. But I'll make this open source, and if you contribute and decide to make it a little bit better, add some features, that'd be a cool thing as well. So here we are. We've registered quickmirror.me, and I've got just a few days left before I can actually. It's the 28th of October as I'm making this. So I'm going to do a little something for myself. I'm going to make sure I get Hacktoberfest credit for some of this because I've done lots of open source for things like Google and Facebook and other places that do not support the Hacktoberfest accepted tag. And so, though I've been contributing like I do every year, I'm not getting credit. So, if I do this, I'm going to go ahead and give myself credit just a little bit along the Hacktoberfest. So, please don't do this normally. I promise you, I've got well over 5 commits in open source outside of this. And it would really be nice to continue getting that shirt from the awesome people at DigitalOcean and Hacktoberfest. So, I will probably label things that way. But regardless of that, let's go ahead and see about getting started here. So the domain name is registered, and my idea for actually accessing your camera is to access the media devices. So we're going to go ahead and access media devices, and today I'll be developing on a Windows machine. I generally like to switch back and forth between Windows and Mac machines constantly. This helps me make sure that, especially in mobile development, I'm switching between Android and iOS. And it also helps me with any kind of node development to make sure that I'm following best practices that my code will run on both machines. So I generally do all my development on two machines, a awesome Windows machine and an amazing laptop. So today, since we're using the kind of the setup here with cameras and everything like that, you'll be seeing me on Windows. So to start me off on Windows, I like to use PowerShell, and I kick PowerShell in right off the bat here. One of the things about PowerShell that I've got set up here is that it automatically throws me in the code folder. It opens really nice and big with a big font. I find this is generally very important to me. So I think I have a web folder. And so I can type things like ls. So I'm going to go into web. And then I am going to use, let's go ahead and use create React app. This doesn't need to be a complex website. I mean, honestly, this page shouldn't even be worrying about being a React application at all. It just is a nice way to get expandability and a couple other features that I might want to include. To be sure that I'm future proofing, I generally go with create React app. And then you can, of course, eject and get as crazy as you want to. But for, quickmirror.me, I probably should go with just an HTML and a JS file and something really simple like Parcel to host it. Sorry, I'm cutting a few corners and throwing a little bloat into the simple website right off the bat. It's just easy to do, and it's going to be no problem for me to go ahead and push up there. If you're in the same boat as me and you throw create React app at a bunch of different things for fun, then give me a holler on Twitter and let me know I'm not alone, because I know that this is a little too much for the site that we're creating. But a little bit of this, now that I think about it, is I was talking, we're talking you know, with Mike and the React podcast and all those other things. It kind of makes sense, right? Well, how am I going to not use React here? Let's use some React. So I will say create React app, and then we'll name this one mirror, quick mirror. Just call it quick mirror. Okay, looks like it's all done here. So let's just see if this actually worked out okay. So we're going to cd into quick mirror, and then we'll yarn start. Make sure that everything's running on this machine properly, that we do have a nice React app to go ahead and dig into. Okay, loaded over here on this side, so I'm just going to drag it over. So see, this looks good here, and this looks good here. All right, we have a React app up and running. I'm going to take this media device documentation and move it on over to my other screen for a little bit. So that way I will drag it back over as we need it, but I don't think it needs to take up space here. And we'll see what we have. Now I can kill this from running. Terminate the job, yes. I'm going to open up a code window. Here we are. That is going to be way too big. Okay. So under source, app, we can see here we have our setup for the website. Looks good. And I guess one of the most important things that we need to do here is we don't need this fancy logo, this image. In fact, let's just say folder here. Quick mirror. Get rid of that. And then we are going to go down and from the app. We're going to get out of the header, and we're going to go into. I heard that people use content or something like that here, something like a little content tag rather than just a normal div. I'm gonna give that a go. If I'm using this wrong, somebody tell me, and I'll be like, quick tests. Make sure I'm not doing something terrible. So save that. What are we seeing complaints about here? Div has no corresponding close tag. Oh, caught up, did you? Okay, good. So let's see what we get. to go back to running this project. Probably won't stop it again anymore. We'll just use the hot module reloading the rest of the way unless we add some node modules. Then we'll bring this guy back over here. Because Windows loves to reopen these a lot. And there's quick mirror and there's quick test. So you could see the way that this kind of comes in. This always drove me nuts about this. Is like, why did you make the header this big old thing? Let me do a quick check on that content, HTML content tag. Maybe I'm just hearing things. Whatever, let's go with main. Let's have fun. So we'll say, we're going to go with main. Yeah, I love how HTML will just forgive you for anything that you do at any time. Let's stop this app header from being huge, right? We'll just kind of keep that up there for a second and probably remove this entire header at some point. So we're going to go over to the the app CSS. And so we have the app header, which is going to be 100% of the visible height. And if I just kind of remove that, what kind of height do we get here? So see that now it's kind of moved to this. Now here's a cool thing. I don't know if you've seen this yet. This is called Css Spider. Once you click Css Spider, you've got that sort of really neat sort of ability to mouse over things, and then you can actually modify them as you go. So here we are, we're looking at app header. You can see all the different aspects, and I can edit this right here. This is like a little bit more of an interactive version of like digging in. If instead of inspecting and then using the mouse click through, these open these cute little boxes that'll let you sort of like dig into things pretty quickly and touch them. And then you can say, okay, close CSS Spider. Neat little plugin. I definitely highly recommend it. Maybe we'll use it a little bit more. Maybe I'll find a problem with it and then use it a little bit less. So neat feature there. So we've got quick mirror and then we've got quick test. So as far as I can tell, this entire section here, I'm going to dig into this and say, for quick mirror, we're set there. Quick test, I'm going to get rid of this and then turn it into something that we can actually use. Let's use a video tag here. And this will be what we're going to get our video for. ID equals mirror. And autoplay on there. Try to get it to go. And they'll make this a self-closing tag because those go in and out of style, seems like every year. So we'll get that going. That seems like it'll work out pretty well. And then now we can jump in sort of like the CSS of this. No need for you, logo SVG. You're gone. Okay. So now we are in a React app and we want to sort of initialize and get kicking on this once the actual React app and the DOM have loaded. So that's always going to come out of use effect. So we're going to import use effect from React. Guess we're not going to bring in React either. Just do use effect. Okay, whatever. That's so easy to just do that stupid stuff. Okay. So now we've got use effect. So we can say use effect. Sorry about that. We could say use effect. And we say, okay, we have this. This is the effect that we're going to look at here. And we want to make sure this is the classic when the component loads. So this is the least readable componented mount ever in history. Document ready componented mount. I totally get the functional style. I think that this is like the most ridiculous way to write this ever. I love you, React team. I love you, React team. What is going on? Why? I mean, I know we've written this about 1,000 times, so it makes sense. It does not make sense, though. Just to be fair, just anybody else in the world who's ever looked at any of this stuff knows that that's not fair. But what you gonna do? So inside of here, let's say we've got const max width is going to be equal to the window inner width. We'll grab our inner width here. So we want to like take this video and we're going to just stretch it out as far as we can. Then we're going to say const max height equals window dot inner. You guessed it. Yep. And so then we've got to, if we take a look at the documentation here for how we set up get user media, we have to set in some constraints. So if we take a look at this, they've got while we're getting this all set up, we have to say what our width and height for our video are, whether or not we want audio, all that other fun stuff. So if you're wondering where I'm getting this information I'm typing that's about to go into get user media, I'm looking over at my other monitor. That makes it kind of easy to figure some of this stuff out. So const video constraints, right? It's going to be the width. It's going to say ideal max width. Yeah. And the max is going to be max width. Then we're going to say, oh, by the way, that's how you do objects. You just learned it, everybody. Height is same thing. Ideal max height and max height. Okay. And then facing mode. And then so I think we're gonna try to say environment, which is rear facing, if possible, basically. All right, so this is what we're going to be passing in to access the camera. And so now we've got to get access to this video. So we've got to get a ref to it. So I'll say ref equals, well, first we have to actually create the reference that we're going to pass in here, right? So it's not by string here. It's going to be, we call this like our let's call it the mirror. It's not, it's just kind of follow up. What just happened? Okay, there we go. So inside of here, before we get started, we'll say const and we'll get our mirror. This will be use ref. And that's the initial value, which is always null, or which in my case is null. And this means that we're going to also have to bring in use ref up here. Now you might notice that I'm completely removing any need to type those extra little semicolons, all the other fun stuff. You can toss those in if you really need to. I'm not going to use them. They're just a little distracting for this. Most of the time for me anyway. Okay, so we made a use reference to a mirror, and then we use the mirror reference here. And so that means that if we'd like to, we can actually, access this video object here and start actually telling it to work within the constraints. So let's access that video object. So const video is going to be equal to our mirror.current. That'll give us our little video element. And then with this video element, I'm going to say video.width equals, let's keep using this, max width. This is just the gift that keeps on giving, right? Height equals max height. Okay. That's the goal here. And then we've made it pretty big. You know what? Let's take a look at this. I'm going to save it. Normally, I'm used to seeing my work as I actually like hit save and see what's going on. But being inside this like little recorded window here, missing out on a little bit of that. So I'm going to make us see it real quick. So we'll say, I'm sure it's reloaded, but just in case, say, all right, this guy here. Oh yeah, see, look at the size of that. This is working nicely. So it is taking this and making a giant video window inside of Quick Mirror. I like it. I think the last piece of this for me here is to wire this puppy up, right? I think whenever you're accessing this stuff, you're supposed to do it inside of a try catch. So let's do the classic templating. I know some of you, the second you start typing this, like types all this stuff out for you, but I don't have a console.log, right? Console.log. So we need to start off with getting our video stream. So const vid stream, that's going to equal, you know what the problem we're hitting now? And this is just a little bit of a gotcha. This is going to return a promise. So if I say navigator.media devices get user media, right? I say we want, audio is false and the video is our video constraints, right? So if I say this, I believe, look at that, it's returning a promise. So we're gonna start getting into a bunch of thens and the other things. So we're gonna do what I think everybody has to do all the time. We're just going to make a function async. Yeah, that's wrong, right? Async function. See, junior devs, you can forget all day long. So much fun. Let's call this setup video. Yeah. And so now we have a little async. So now inside here, at least we can kind of do this stuff. And the only job of use effect is to basically be this simple is this basically this document did load right here. So if you're trying to code something like this and you don't want to use React, you don't have to. So I'm throwing all the code inside of here. And then instead I'm saying set up video, which calls an asynchronous function. And now inside of here, I have async. Yeah. All right. So now I can await this. And my video stream will become live inside of here. And this works great because if you're try catching with promises, I don't know if you've ever kind of gotten sucked down that rabbit hole, but the promises swallow. Um, they just swallow errors left and right, and it drives me bonkers because you've got to catch and then you've got to roll them up and you've got to do all this other stuff. Having inside of a try catch with an await, now we're rocking. Just as a little tidbit, I don't know if you've ever found the complete difference here, but the fact that we went with await async inside of a try catch is so important. Way more than I would have actually originally guessed. This is probably a better practice by far for me. So, there we go. Async await here. The vid stream's going to come in, and then now let's figure out what we're going to do with this video stream. Right, we're going to have to feed it into our video. So one of the things we're going to want to do here is this code's not the cleanest. It is just a little something that I had looked up that I've done before. It is kind of like a crappy way of trying to figure out whether or not this is the right way to run it for this browser or not. This is live coding, so you get what you pay for, everybody. Source object equals, yep, I'm going to set it to this vid stream here. And so we're setting the source for that. If it's got source object. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and we're going to say video.source equals window.url.create object URL from the stream. But I think here I've actually got the real HTML object from the reference, and so this is all correct here. So we'll check that for errors right now. Actually, let's just go ahead and make sure we kind of figure this all out. Make sure that's all good. I'm gonna save, and then I'm going to load it up here. And there we go. Stream is not defined. Of course, because it's called video stream, idiot. Video stream. Can't rename things and just think that it's going to work, do you? So let's see here. See, it's got. Let's actually watch the console a little bit. Make sure. Close received. And I'm gonna refresh real quick just to make sure. Autoplay. Did you mean autoplay? Look at that. I knew I was doing. I do this constantly. This is probably like one of the biggest violations that I do. I forget that when I'm in JSX, I've got to sort of play the roles. This should be auto play. So anytime any of you kids go out there and you're like, oh, I know about this HTML element, and then I bring it straight into JSX wholesale, you've got to always be careful of that. I can say this to future me. You screwed up and forgot to do it again. It's okay. Okay, so we have that load up. Oh, it looks like we have a camera here. And might be loaded there. Now, it hasn't asked for access to the camera, but maybe because I'm on localhost, it thinks that we've already had this. And you can see this little like glowy dot here means that it's trying to use my camera and microphone. I told it audio false. So, oh yeah, audio or microphone. So I'm going to pause the video for a moment here, turn off the camera that I'm using to sort of like capture for myself. Hello. And then I'm going to see if I can actually see myself inside the video for a moment. So let's try that real quick. As it turns out, it was just looking at the wrong camera. So yeah, I have a couple of cameras set up for this setup, and it was looking at apparently my default camera is apparently this one instead of the one I was recording on, which was this one. So it was working. It was just specifically saying like, "Hey, we're going after this camera instead of this camera." So that's an interesting aspect that I might need to factor in here. When you have multiple cameras, sort of like on a phone or any kind of device, I'm pretty sure I set the default camera for this entire machine to be the one that I thought it was going to use, but it grabbed this one, and that's just good to know. That I might need to actually have like a little drop down that says, "Hey, we've detected, you know, 2 or 3 cameras. This is the one you're going to need to make sure that you're using." So this is a really nice camera. It's like a neat setup. It's got that sort of like the bokeh feel on it, so I can do some high quality video stuff here, and so you can see things like that. But yeah, I had the lens on it, and that's why it kept coming back as pure just nothingness. It actually was accessing the camera. It was just with this lens on there, it kept coming back black. So funny enough, did we just make this website? I think we did. That was pretty quick, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Um, I think that what I'm going to do now is maybe print out a little bit about what camera we're using and then push this up as like a version 0.1. And that way we could have quickmirror.me actually work. And then I can continue to sort of do some other advancements that are a little bit more GitHubby and less exciting for actual like live coding, and just sort of frame things around so it looks a little bit better. So pretty cool. Actually, I'm getting to talk to you through the web page right now. If you didn't realize that, I'm talking to you through Quick Mirror. So I'm going to put the lens back on this camera and then add well, actually no, I'll leave it off for just a little bit longer, and then I'll add a couple more features real quick, and we'll take a look at it from there. I didn't realize that building this I would have a camera on me even when I didn't have a camera on me. um, it's a little bit fun. So let's go back to the code. And so we have um, video stream here, which we load in. And then I'm going to do this cute little thing before we get hopping. I'm going to say const video inputs or tracks or whatever it's going to be, and say vid stream dot get me your video tracks. So pretty good set there. And then I'm going to console.log the using yo the video device I am seeing is you saw that how I had to get rid of the contraction here. All my Star Trek fans will be happy I did that. Get rid of there. Uh, and then I guess what we'll do is we'll toss that straight in there. So let's turn this into an interpolated string. And then we'll say what our video track that we're actually seeing is, so that way Gantt doesn't make this mistake ever again. So we'll say video inputs, which I know technically it should be tracks, but I don't care. It just sounds weird. Dot label. Okay, so now we're gonna log out the particular video device that's coming in from the stream, so that way I won't be making that mistake again in the future. And then we can kind of use this system. Maybe it'll help you select on which one you have selected and which one you shouldn't have selected. So we'll go back to our website real quick. Hello. We'll inspect and console. Video device I'm seeing is the Blackmagic design. Excellent. And the Blackmagic design, by the way, is amazing. So I can do things like this. Ooh, very cool. And that's the device. So if I had seen that that's the input device that it was using, I would have been able to quickly identify that. So Quick Mirror is pretty much running now. Let's go ahead and get this off to Amplify. Sounds good? Sounds good. So we're set up here on code. And the next thing I would say that we need to do is hop on over here, stop the actual page. Next, we're going to push this up to Amplify real quick. Okay, see that process. So if you're new to Amplify, you have to make sure you have the Amplify command. It's all set up here. You can see that I have the Amplify framework. Really cool. If this is your first time ever running anything with Amplify, you need to say Amplify configure. That's once per machine. Don't do that on every machine. Oh, look, it actually kind of explains it. But don't Amplify configure over and over and over again. You just kind of like drive yourself crazy with building users that have access to Amazon services. So we'll say amplify init, which I'm pretty sure is going to give us the ability to set here. So call it Quick Mirror. I like that name. The environment. No, we're just going straight to prod. I know we wish we were doing this in dev. I do use Visual Studio Code. This is a JavaScript project. It is a React project. Yes, source. Yes, to build. And the command is, yep, run the build. Run script start. Yep, that's how we do this. And cool. So we're going to go ahead and use Cloudformation. If you're unfamiliar with Cloudformation, this is Amazon's service of sort of like running automated scripts to provision things. So it's just going to make sort of a place for everything to exist. So really cool for CloudFormation is like automation for building out on AWS services. Do you want to use an AWS profile? Yes, I do. And then I have one for on Windows. That's nice. I'll just kind of use that one. So now we have Amplify set up here, and we are able to easily kind of work with this. It's been added to a project. Let's take a look for a moment to see what just happened inside of our project. So we get this little Amplify folder, and then inside there, we get this nice little build out of the configuration so that if someone else wants to go host this or build this, whatever the hosting and the configuration and the server configurations that are necessary on Amazon kind of get thrown in here. So if I start tossing in some kind of like cool thing like a API or GraphQL or other things that you might need for hosting this, they get tossed into the Amplify project. Now, sure, I could basically just take these files and dump them into an S3 bucket, and that would be hosting. But like I said, gonna ride this whole Amplify train the whole way. So we've got this set up here. So we want some hosting. So we'll say Amplify add. Then we could say what we want to add here, and I'll say hosting. And that's one of the options that you can do. I believe this is the right way to do this. Who knows? Maybe I'll be coming back and be like, I did that wrong. But I think this is pretty straightforward. So hosting with Amplify Console, yeah, with lets me get just custom domains and stuff like that. Perfect. And then I don't want to, or I could actually just, yeah, I could use CloudFront. Now, notice there's a difference here. There's CloudFormation and CloudFront. Um, like I said, you don't need to know all these things, but it does help a little bit. So what is the difference between what's going on here? So let me kind of actually explain this because this is like if I just hit enter, I'm good. I'm not gonna screw up. This isn't gonna be terrible, but this is a great chance to sort of understand what the hell just happened, right? Up here with CloudFormation, CloudFormation helps you sort of form your stack in the cloud and acquiring the necessary things in order to, use Amplify, not Amplify. That's a different service. Amplify to build out sort of like might be used to like Chef or cool stuff like that, but this sort of allows you to identify what you need there. And CloudFront is like a CDN that allows you to have ridiculously fast load times of a file that's hosted on S3. So let us take a second here and talk about what that would actually look like if we were setting it up manually. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring back my video so I can show you and say, actually, I think I can just look at you if I pull this up, right? Haha! Using the website. Hey, everybody. Okay. So S3, we love using those crazy numerisms or whatever they're actually called. And what happens is if you have an S3 bucket, that's set up in a particular region. So it might be living, in US West or US East or some other kind of setup. And one of the great things that you can do with a CloudFront is that you can get a copy that's pushed down to edge servers all over the world so that you can have extremely fast download speeds, especially a second time. So if it took, maybe it took 300 milliseconds for your website to load in Australia the first time, and then the second time somebody comes to load that website because of that edge device over there and the amount of time it's going to live there, it loads in 30 milliseconds. It's just it's 10x faster, and S3 hosting is super cool and it has all these great features. So one of the things that's like kind of simple about this is if I just chose to make an S3 bucket, took those files, put them into the S3 bucket, then turned on CloudFront to accelerate that S3 bucket files to a public storage, and then said, "Here you go." That would be a awesome way to get things done. If you are confused by this, it's totally okay. It is absolutely okay because there's all these crazy cool services that Amazon adds onto year after year after year. And I think Amplify is this great solution to say, hey, I don't know about every single service. As a matter of fact, is there a person out there that can name every single Amazon service? I don't think so. So one of the cool things that we can get from this is that um, we can have a CLI to sort of manage that, manage plugins, manage adding a service at a higher level. And you're starting to see things like landing zone and like these ops things that Amazon's sort of figured out. They start to have to add these functionality in order to get these things to work. So let's just know that those things exist and you can slowly creep into understanding them and using them. But using Amplify is the best method for what we're going to do here. And I think they explain that in the CLI. So let me pull that code right back up here for a moment. It says, yep, managing hosting for custom domains and continuous deployment. This is like a lot if you're used to Netlify. This is what this Amplify console would be perfect for. So if you've been using Netlify and you enjoy it, but you want to compare it against the big leagues like Amazon and it can scale into all these other things, that's what we're looking at here. So we're going to go ahead and run that. Let's see. Oh, it's running now. Yeah. And yeah, let's do continuous deployment. So what this will do is that every time someone sends over a nice pull request, it's kind of weird seeing just my beard pop in and out of the frame here. I think I'm gonna I'm gonna pull up something else here. You don't have to see my beard hopping in and out. That was weird. So this is a lot like what you get with Netlify as well. You know, you merge a pull request, your website updates. This is what we want. So toss it in. We have to go ahead and sign in. So now we're hopping in here. So this is asking us to sign in and it's saying like, how do you want to do this? Like, you want to tie this into GitHub? And the answer is yes, I want to tie it into GitHub. But don't think I actually created a GitHub repo yet. So I'm going to pause and come back. I'm going to go create a GitHub repo so that way I can tag that in here real quick. My apologies on not having this in the correct order. You don't need to watch me create a GitHub repo. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. We have pushed this up. It is on the Infinite Red repo here. Quick Mirror Me is the setup. So if you want to check out all the code that we've written so far, it's Infinite Red Quick Mirror Me. And then I've got access over here. Oh man, that is a beautiful GitHub profile. Who did that? So nice. And so we're set over here. If I believe now we can go over to GitHub, connect branch. And I apologize for not showing all that stuff. Well, that's what happens when you do what you just did, Gant. Let's try that again. And then taking a look here, I went to Quick Mirror, which had started setting up for me, saying GitHub, saying connect branch. And then if you watch here, it reloads, it says GitHub authorization was successful. And now if we load up here, oh, look, there's quickmirror.me. We want to use the main branch. And then, so we say next. So we did kind of get this moving along anyway. Worked out. Yep. On every commit, everything looks good. Next. Select an environment. Prod. Sorry about that. Needed to make sure that we selected prod. Okay, so we are going to push to prod every time we have somebody actually do this. And then we're going to say yes, save and deploy. And essentially what we are doing here was we just wired this up, not from the CLI. And we're getting our first deploy of our code, which should work just fine over there. And it's got like a little screenshot that they like to generate. We have a little amplifyapp.com link. And it kind of sets everything up for us. So now we have continuous integration and deployment of every time we actually push a commit to GitHub, our website will update. And so let's go back to our code over here. What are you going to do? code now that this has been done. It doesn't really matter. You've been logged in. And there you go. Oh, it just kind of comes back and lets us know where we can go to actually see this thing once it's deployed. That's nice. So we have our code set up and we pushed it up there. Now it's real easy to go ahead and connect this in if you grabbed your domain with like, was it Route 58? I think is the service that you use to connect all these things together for registering domains with Amazon. Um, but we went ahead and registered this with name.com, which is where we keep all of the company domains. So that I didn't have to pay for it. I guess I just went ahead and did it over there. So once this is all nice and set up, we can come back here and take a look at telling this to host the actual website we using quickmirror.me. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and let this entire process finish, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look then. Okay, looks like everything's here. So let's click this for the very first time. And then, yep, here it is. It's asking for access to my camera. And so it needs to do that. I guess earlier we skipped that because I guess I've already given localhost access to my camera. So we'll say allow. Oh, and instantly there I am. So we have the mirror set up immediately. Nice. I can see, obviously, I'm going to remove this background and modify a few things here. But this is pretty nice. So um, got a website that we can go to. But it's not very memorable because we get this amplifyapp.com sort of set up. So let's go ahead and dig into I still have this one running. Oh my goodness. Cameras accessed on both of them. Ooh. So I'll kill that one. We'll kind of come back over here and we'll take a look at the Amplify console. And so now we see that it's recently deployed. And you can see that the code's up here. And I forgot to give myself any kind of Hacktoberfest credit. Good job, Gant. Uh, that accidentally clicking on myself is weirding me out. And so let's just let's see if we can go ahead and get our domain name in there. So domain management. You can see over here we've got this one set up. Now I've done this before, but I've completely forgotten how to do it. So now that we're in here, we want to say add a domain name, and we want to add let's say it's quick mirror.me, right? So that's it. There's a bunch of different options that we could have seen there. And probably the easiest way to handle this is so you have Route 53. What did I say earlier? Route 58? Route 50, Route 12? This is not a good name for me. So if you registered through Route 53, it should be real nice and easy. But since we did it through a third-party provider, I have to kind of configure this up. So quickmirror.me, good. Let's see, your domain name, main, sounds good. Set up a redirect from no dub to the dub. Some of you might actually be against this because you wish that there was no www. But I think like technically this is called like a naked domain or something like that, and this is the correct way to do it. So we'll just turn this on and we'll have it redirect. No, you know what? Turn it off. However you go to it is how you go to it. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I might come back and flip that off. So set this up. One of the cool things that it's doing here is it's doing the Ssl certificate creation, getting that all set up, and domain activation will come around. So we'll get that set. So I guess we're going to sit around for a little bit here, let it finish the SSL, and let it finish all the other fun stuff for Quick Mirror, and I'll be back. Pausing again. Okay, so now we are on to the SSL configuration. We're looking to verify that we actually own this. So we've got to go ahead and set our CName up right quick. So we're going to go add that CName record. So we go over here, copy all that fun stuff. Forgive me if I suck at this part of this. I don't do this very often. So we're going to set CName, and those results were this stuff up to here. Yeah. So it's already got the quick mirror.me on there. So we just say, grabbing this part of it, quick mirror.me. And the answer is this right here. So I think it's like that. And so we can, that's the setup that they have there. And we can say, let's add this record. This always trips me up for a second. So add record. We're going to validate this portion here. Saw me click add record, right? Okay, it turns out I was apparently logged out without getting logged out. So I had to go ahead and refresh, and it told me to log back in. Now we can kind of add these back here. So that's why it's a really terrible UI. Good job, name.com. But so now we were properly doing this correctly because this is what they wanted to have, .quickmirror.me, and then that's the answer that they wanted us to have. And this basically tells Amazon, yep, we're good. This is, I am the owner of this domain name. Would have been a lot easier kind of doing this whole thing through Route 53. So, but now we are continuing on with our SSL creation, SSL configuration. It looks like it validated the CName, and now it's on to the next portion of this. So very cool. This whole portion of like kind of getting a website set up, beyond the really fun part of getting this very simple subdomain, is always going to take a little bit of time. So that's why I'm constantly pausing the video, and has very little to do with the code that we need to do. I wanted to show you what the process is for tying and HTTPS and hosting directly with Amplify. So, and then when we are set and it's got the SSL all done, we'll activate the domain. Okay, so now we have the next part. So the SSL is all configured up. Things are set there. So we have the last piece. Go to the DNS records and configure the CNAME records again. So say actions, view DNS records. And so you can see here, we need to set up we have an A name and a C name. We need to go ahead and get set up here. So let's go ahead and do this. Simple enough. I'll say here, back here. Okay, A name. And the A name configuration is like this. So over here we say at, and that's our answer. And we're using CloudFront. You already talked about CloudFront real quick, so we'll add that record there. And then the other piece of this, as we saw a second ago, we need to set up the CNAME. The CNAME will also be on CloudFront. So this, honestly, we did, this is kind of the same thing you would have to do if you had done it the other way with S3 and CloudFront anyway. But we get some extra bells and whistles over here. So we get dub. Let's go into the CNAME over here. So let's go ahead and say CNAME. Oh, I'm going to type that better this time. Dub. We want to go there and add record. So we've got these all nice and set up, the A name, the C name, and we've got configured the way that they wanted us to have it configured over here in View DNS Records. And these look pretty good to me. I don't think I made any mistakes, so we'll say close. And now it's just going to go ahead and finish the rest of this configuration, and again with the pause. Okay, so now the page has just gotten rid of our little to-do steps and loaded up here. And now it looks like it's just saying quickmirror.me should work. I bet none of these are a link. This be a link. Come on. So let's just go ahead and load up quickmirror.me. So we'll pull open a new page, toss it on there. And then, oh, this is our site. Yeah. And we have designed, have the camera turned off again. Go figure. I'll just turn that back on for us real quick. And of course, we could inspect to see which camera it was trying to use. Yep, still trying to use that same camera. And hello, everybody. So we are back in action over here. And then we have it on this. And then when I was running localhost, we had that as well. So we were checking out all that stuff. So that's it from concept to a little bit of code to buying a domain to hosting on Amazon through Amplify. We got to do that project. So if you are interested in contributing to make this mirror just a little bit better, maybe you could select different cameras, stuff like that. Get a little bit of Hacktoberfest time in, perhaps. I'll merge it. Even after October, feel free to go ahead and contribute back. This very simple, fun React app. It was kind of cool coding it live. It's not something I normally do. I like to create these little simple, fun projects without telling anybody what the hell I'm doing and just knock it out in an hour and then release it to the world. But now I've got this fun little project and a fun little video to go along with it. So for everybody who watched this entire process and learned something, let me know on Twitter and let me know if I should do this again because it was kind of fun. All right, time to go, everybody. Cheers.